Hey guys, it's been a while between academics and family, like I just haven't had the time to sew, but I'm back and I am going to start with a thrift flip. So I've had this dress for quite some time now. My mom gave it to me because I loved the pattern, but as you can see, it just doesn't fit. So I've never quite known what I wanted to do with it. I just knew I liked the pattern and the fabric until I was scrolling through Instagram and I stumbled on the Black Maggie dress by Neverfullydressed. It's this little dress over here, and I loved it so much, and I've decided that this would be perfect for it. Just obviously there's some changes along the way based off of the fabric I had, and yeah, let's begin. This is just some before shots so you can see the amount of fabric we're working with. Okay, so we're going to begin taking apart this dress. I first started with the seam ripper, but that seemed like it would take too much time, and I ended up with scissors. As the top and bottom were separated, I then cut along the seams of the top piece. As you can see, I've done the exact same thing for the bottom, except this time there's lining, and I've decided to cut along the seams of the fabric first and then follow with the lining. Because this is a dress and we're making a dress, the main structure of this pattern is already there. So I'll be focusing on the top half of this dress. Okay, so these are all the pattern pieces required, and I'll break each of them down as we go along. We will begin with the straps and the loops for the straps. So I've decided that both these will be the same width, which is roughly 2.5 centimeters, which equals an inch. As you can see, I'm sewing multiple strips so that I can sew them together and make one continuous strap. Keep in mind that you will need 2 of these straps. The length is dependent on you and what you would prefer. I've kept mine very long. I've decided to make the loops 13 centimeters, which is just over 5 inches, and I'll then make 6 of them and straight stitch along each of them. I then move on to sewing the 2 long straps after I've sewn each of the pieces together, and I straight stitch along all of the edges similar to the way I did the loops. Now that all these pieces are sewn together, we are going to use a loop turner to turn all of them inside out, and just be patient and don't tug on them too hard. It will take a while. You'll then use the same process on the longer straps. Just again, be patient, and I've only shown you one of the straps in this video, and be mindful that there are 2 straps. Now for the top half. Because there was no lining in this piece, I then opted to layer it with its own fabric, and I've cut out a rectangular piece based off of my measurements. Please bear with me, it is straight, it's just the camera angle. Now that that's complete, we're going to pin it together right sides to right sides. Then mark up where I want the straps as well as the holders to go, dividing up the top. I'm going to insert the straps as well as the holders next to the markers that I've made. The 2 on the top are the long straps, and then the holders are on the sides. Now to insert the holders. Once everything has been pinned in place, we're going to straight stitch along the edges, making sure to leave the bottom open. I then follow this up with a zigzag stitch. If you have a serger or an overlocking machine, you can use that too. I just don't at this stage, so I'm going to neaten it up with a zigzag stitch. We're then going to turn this piece inside out, as well as iron it so that it remains flat. Now that that's complete, we're then going to move on to the bottom portion of the dress, starting with the front. I need to cut away the excess fabric, so I've roughly left 1 inch on each side, which is roughly 3 centimeters, using the front piece we've just completed as a base. Measure out the amount of facing I would need for this front piece. This just makes for a cleaner finish where all the seams are hidden inside the folds. I'm then going to pin everything together with the right sides touching. As you can see, I sandwiched the top piece of the top in between the facing and the skirt, and I placed it right in the middle. I went straight in with a zigzag stitch to clean up the edges. I then followed this with a straight stitch. with a 1 centimeter seam allowance. Now for the other half of the dress, the back. I measure where the fold's going to be based off of the elastic I want to insert. Once I'm happy the elastic will fit in, I then pin down the edges. Once that is complete, I'll then straight stitch down the edge. Now to put in the elastic. I've used a safety pin and secured it on the one edge of the elastic. This will just help me to take the elastic through the little fabric tunnel we've just created. Just make sure to spread the gathers up equally. This is what it should look like when it's done. Now I'm going to secure the elastic in with a zigzag stitch on both edges and straight stitch in the middle of the skirt so as the elastic doesn't fold. Now to connect the two pieces. I then pin along both the edges, making sure to start with the fabric and then follow with the lining. I then straight stitch with a 1 centimeter seam allowance on both edges. And then clean up the edges with a zigzag stitch. Once that is done, the thrift flip is complete. I love how this turned out. I hope you guys did too. See you next time.